back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Now, but someday, baby, when you've had your play, you're gonna want your daddy, but your daddy will say, keep moving home, keep rolling home. You were flying too high for my little old sky, so I'm moving home. Move on, baby.
And welcome back to Boomer Life. We're talking about seniors retirement living. Our guests are from Shannon Oaks, a Baptist housing seniors independent living community right here in Vancouver at 2526 Waverly Avenue, right down there in the 49th and Killarney area of our city. Our guests are Jillian Fullerton, Sales and Marketing Manager with Baptist Housing here in BC, and also joining us in studio from Estate Property Services is downsizing expert Ann McKenzie. Now, we were just talking before we took the break. We started crunching some numbers. We're talking finances because Ann says after the downsizing and all of the logistics of moving from a home or a condo into a seniors retirement community, once that big decision is taken, and then the details of how that move will be pulled off, once that's organized, well, clearly one of the next big steps is finding out how much this is all going to cost and whether we can afford to live here or not. And Jillian, I mentioned a perception, and I'm sure you hear it from time to time because you're the marketing person that a lot of people speak to, that, we've thought about this, but I couldn't possibly live here.
That's correct.
And
they do.
So then you talk to us about a comparison sheet. I think this is something that people listening would be interested in because no one is living in a vacuum. Even though you may be living in the house that you and your family built back in the 70s.
And the mortgage is paid.
That was paid for 10 years after it was built. You're still not living in a vacuum. You're paying property taxes. You're paying utilities. You're paying the kid who comes by and cuts the grass once a week. You're paying all of these static costs that do not go away. So even though it may not feel like it's costing much to live, Jillian, you start doing that comparison chart and identifying your monthly costs.
Yes.
You're not living in a vacuum.
No, you're not. And if you look at the cost of the roof replacement,
Yeah.
I mean, that would sink any budget. Getting the leaves out of the eaves, troughs, all of that, it mounts up little by little.
Yep.
It can be small little costs, incremental, but they gradually do it.
And suppose, for example, you don't shop. Suppose you do your grocery shopping online and have those delivered to your house because you can't get out and about.
Oh,
That's a cost, too. I mean,
well, that not only is a monetary cost, it's a social cost,
Sure it
too.
is, yeah.
It's a huge social cost, but we can talk about that later.
Right.
The major thing is with Shannon Oaks, when you come there, in the brochure is a comparison sheet.
Right.
One of the things that you have to consider is all the various costs you are paying now and what your rent at Shannon Oaks includes.
Okay.
And we tick that off for you. That's included. And as I said in the last segment, your telephone of $29 is not included. So that's $29. Your parking is $25, and your internet, if you want it, is $30. And more seniors are wanting that.
Sure, it's fun.
That's fun. But the major thing is all your meals are included.
Now,
all of your meals.
Now, friends, that may sound kind of goofy. All of your meals are included. Well, of course they are. Well, it's not necessarily the case at all.
That's
This is where we need to hit the brakes for a second. Ann is nodding in agreement here because you, of course, assist seniors moving to all sorts of different locations.
Yes, that's correct.
And the simple fact of the matter is that in seniors' independent living communities, all your meals is not anything you can take for granted as a condition of moving in. Shannon Oaks is rather unique in that regard.
That's right. We include all your meals. Some places you get a budget of maybe $300 a month and you can go down to the restaurant and spend it where you want.
Right.
What they don't say is the restaurant prices increase, but your $300 doesn't.
Right.
Or you may get 20 meals a month. Well, 20 meals a month does not really cover full meals, does it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that may be 20 lunches or 20 dinners, and that's it.
Right.
You know, so the rest of the time when we've got, let's say there's 30, you get 60 meals in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just round it off. Well, there's 40 meals that are not covered.
That's right.
So you've got to shop and get the expenses of all of that. You've got to cook. So why? You know, if you still have to cook, still have to shop, Now you have all your meals. At Shannon Oaks, we have an amazing amount of choice. Quality of the meals is exceptional, and the choice you have is there. Everything you'd want is right there.
And one of the things that Ann was saying just a few minutes ago during the break was she's really tickled that this downsizing seminar coming up next Wednesday at Shannon Oaks starts at 11:30 because, well, we all get to stick around and have something to eat.
Right.
And
That's
Ann
right.
really likes the food at Shannon Oaks.
The food is wonderful at Shannon Oaks. It's all very tasty, and as Jillian just mentioned, there's lots and lots of choice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And
although I do think that peanut butter ice cream, peanut butter ice cream is always on that menu, isn't
they
it?
love it. Our residents love it. You take it off the menu, there would be a riot.
I would complain if you took it off my menu.
Yeah, so
They do. They have their preferences, and so
Right.
we address those.
Yeah,
But it's
so.
the staff too that serve it. The servers are absolutely kind, loving, compassionate, and caring, and they know you. They
Right.
know what your likes are. They know you like a tea in a teapot, so they'll bring it to you.
Right.
They know that you only like cranberry juice, so they'll bring you the cranberry juice. They get to know you.
And you have a food committee as well.
Oh
Tell
yes,
us
we
about
definitely
that.
have a food committee.
So
They're
what is a food committee?
Well, a food committee will put out their preferences, what they like, and what they don't like. If they don't like something, you'll hear about it.
So are these representatives elected by the rest of the residents to represent their interests
It's
with
voluntary.
the dining
It's voluntary,
people?
and yes, and people will go on the committee. Yes, they'll say,
Okay.
"I'd like to be on that committee," or they'll
Okay.
be asked to go on that committee. We also have a restaurant manager that go around during the meals now, and she will say to them, "How are you enjoying that?" Our chef Johnson will come out and say, "Did you like this special deal, whatever it was? Did
Sure.
you like, was the steak cooked the way you liked it? Was it, And so there's an exchange between residents and who is preparing their meals, so they get to know. So there's that hands-on.
And one other point that Ann made, and you've made it in the past, Jillian, many
Yes.
times, and it's really a very important point. And Ann, that is that food matters a great deal in any
Oh, yeah.
retirement community.
Yes.
Food is a big deal.
Yes, it
and
is.
so when you're kicking the tires, so to speak, when you're out there in the marketplace investigating these possibilities as a senior or as one of us boomers doing the work on behalf of mom or dad, make sure wherever you go, food and sampling the food is a part of that visit, correct?
Definitely.
Correct.
Definitely.
Yes.
I mean, you can even try it for dinner if you'd like to come for dinner.
Mhm.
Because I think there's a different fare at lunch, and lunch is a little bit lighter usually.
Right.
You can have a light dinner. There's such a variety on the menu if you prefer to have a heavier lunch and a lighter dinner. But try lunch and dinner. There's trial stays too.
Okay.
You'd like to come and really kick the tires, come and speak to me. I'll set you up for a trial stay. You can come and stay at Shannon Oaks, get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can go on some of our trips. You can take part in our activity program. You can see what we do.
You can move in for a few days and try
Yeah.
it on for size.
Yeah.
And you would recommend a few days rather than a day, wouldn't you?
Definitely. I was minimum 3 days.
Okay.
5 days is good to do. Do it.
But I do think food is important, and as we mentioned a little bit earlier, that when you're organizing or kicking the tires and you're visiting the various seniors' residences, plan your tour to be just prior to lunch and then have lunch, or
Right.
have your lunch and then have your tour.
Right.
Do
Sure.
it around that 11 to 1 time period.
Make sure that
Yes.
wherever you
Yeah.
go,
Right,
you
right.
have an opportunity to sample the food.
Right, and you're going to have a meal midweek. It's going to be their average meal. It's not going to be anything special that's being prepared for you. It's part of their
Yes.
of their
Yes.
menu. That's
Right.
also important.
And that's what we'll do at our downsizing seminar too. We will give you what's on the menu that day.
Okay.
We won't create something special to wow you.
Right.
We'll just say, okay, this is our menu for today. It just happens to be X, Y, or Z.
Okay.
And that's what we serve to you.
Okay, and so back to the downsizing seminar, because this really is a door opener for a lot of people, especially if you're just listening to this program and this whole retirement living business is just starting to boil on the back burner. You
Yes.
know that you're going to head in that direction. Perhaps you're a boomer and you know that mom or dad is we're going to need to
Yeah.
broach this subject soon.
Yeah.
Or if you're the senior, you already know that this is coming, and you want to be independent and approach it proactively and make those decisions.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when seniors do this, and you talk to a lot of them who act independently of their boomer kids, in many cases because that's the way they want things done. They want to be in charge. They don't want to be pushed around.
That's right. That's exactly right. They're the decision maker. And I let them know right up front from our first meeting, you are the person who's driving this project. You know, we're going to give you all the best information we can share with you to make this as stress-free as possible, but ultimately you are the person making the decisions. And ultimately, if you're not that person making the decision, you're not going to be happy in the end.
Right.
So they are the people driving the project.
So when you're organizing a project, you're downsizing a senior into a retirement community, how do they structure it? I know we need to take a break, but how do they structure it? Do boomer kids get involved, or are sometimes is that door kept closed until all of the arrangements have been made because we're doing it by ourselves?
Right.
What do you find?
It's all of the above, Sterling.
Oh, I see.
It's all of the above. There's a good mixture of all of it. We moved a couple into Shannon Oaks. I think it was in September, the 1st of September. They had just been on a cruise and celebrated their 50th wedding or 60th.
Nice.
I don't know which wedding anniversary it was. Her children were very involved, and in the end, we offered very few services for her because she had her children do the packing of.
But
this
she's
precious
organized
thing.
too.
She's a very organized woman, and so you know we listened to her and we gave her just only the services that she required.
Right.
That would assist her with the move. And you know when we're doing these seminars, do you need to break?
We'll finish it.
Okay.
You can tell us about the
Okay.
seminar because then I'll give
Okay.
Jillian's phone number,
Okay.
and then we'll take
Okay.
the break.
Okay, so when we're presenting these seminars, you know, people will pick and choose from the different services what they might need
Right.
to help them
And
get
they don't
through.
have to take but what they want.
That's all. And also they may want their children to do it, and we're very happy to share all of our information with them. These are the movers you should contact.
Right.
This is the auction house you should talk to. These are the pitfalls of this mover or that mover. We share that with them so that if in fact they want to organize it themselves, they have all that information at their hand to do it.
All right, the downsizing seminar is coming up in just a few days, next Wednesday at 11:30 at Shannon Oaks, which is 2526 Waverly Avenue in East Vancouver, right there, right down around Killarney High School. If you know 49th and Kerr, and then you come back a few blocks and then you're right there in Shannon Oaks territory. It starts at 11:30 next Wednesday, that's October 15th. The seminar will be conducted by Ann McKenzie, our guest here from Estate Property Services. And if you would like to attend, there are still some seats, so give us a call at 604-326-5139. That's Jillian's direct line.
That's correct.
604-326-5139. Speak to Jillian or leave a message if you can't get in touch with her, and she'll get back to you, and we'll make arrangements. And if you can't make it next Wednesday, you'll be on the list for the next one. Very important. Lots of terrific information available. Next Wednesday, 11:30, followed by lunch at Shannon Oaks. Back with more after this.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.